Have you ever wondered, how much is your retirement worth? In the US, $2,000 a month is only enough to pay rent and a few cold bills. But in another corner of the world, that same amount can bring sunrise on the Adriatic Sea, dinner with Italian wine, or a purple sunset in Santorini. That is not only about money, but about how you choose to live the most precious time of your life. And if you miss this video, you might also miss the chance to rewrite a dream chapter. A life luxurious but peaceful, with just $2,000. Hit like to spread this dream, and subscribe to join me on the journey to explore 5 countries where retirement is not the end, but the beginning of freedom. Dream it. Pack it. Go. 5. Croatia. The green balcony of Europe. If Europe were a grand house, then Croatia would be the balcony facing straight out to the deep blue Adriatic Sea. From here you can hear the wind passing through the pine forests, smell the salty ocean air, and see little white boats gliding across the water like toys. With over 5,800 kilometers of coastline and more than 1,000 islands, only about 50 of them inhabited, Croatia feels like an open map of sea and sky. Each island has its own character, from lively Dubrovnik to quiet Vis, from the lush vineyards of Istria to the rocky Dalmatian shores where waves have crashed for millennia. The climate is so mild that people say even the sun lingers longer just to enjoy the sea. Along the coast, it's sunny Mediterranean. Winters rarely touch 0 degrees Celsius, while the north and central regions carry a continental touch, with warm summers and winters just cold enough for the elderly to feel they still have 4 seasons. Living in Croatia isn't about chasing luxury, but about finding elegance in simple things. With around $2,000 per month, you can easily enjoy a life as full as royalty. A 1- or 2-bedroom apartment in the center of Split or Zagreb rents for $650 to $100. Even a high-end $85 million apartment runs only about $1,000. Smaller towns like Zadar or Osijek are far cheaper, where just a few $100s secures a solid home. Food is abundant and full of surprises. A dinner for 2 at a mid-range restaurant is about $46, and even with Italian wine, it's only $70–80. Still less than a steakhouse meal in the US. The seafood and farmers markets are truly cheap as a gift. Fresh fish, vegetables, olive oil, red wine. Things that feel like luxuries elsewhere become daily staples. Add in utilities, electricity, water, and gas for just $120, and you can live generously, dine out often, see private doctors, and still have money left for yachting, concerts, or weekend island hopping. But Croatia isn't just beautiful in numbers. It's beautiful in the feeling of, I am living exactly at this age. I remember the story of Richard, an American from California. He had planned to spend his whole life in San Diego, morning Starbucks, afternoon Costco. But one day, looking at a thick stack of tax bills, he sighed. I need to find a place where the sun is still warm, but the bills are cool. Landing in Split, he bought a kilo of fresh grouper for the same price as a latte back home and laughed like a child. That evening, he and his wife had seafood and wine for $40. The same money in the US would barely cover a tip. Once, he sat in the square listening to live music, sipping a $2 espresso, then stood up to dance salsa in the street. At this age, if it's still cheap, still delicious, still fun, why not? He chuckled. On Zoom, he often teases his friends. You guys keep paying mortgages in San Diego. I'm here living like a king on $2,000 a month. The coffee is better, the fish is fresher, and my wallet no longer cries. As for policy, Croatia doesn't yet have a specific retirement visa, but foreigners can easily apply for a temporary residence permit by proving financial stability, health insurance, and a legal place to stay. After 5 years of temporary residence, you can apply for permanent residency and even buy property just like locals. True, the bureaucracy can be slow, sometimes like the autumn here, leaves falling gently, winds changing without hurry. But with well-prepared documents, staying long-term is entirely within reach. When it comes to healthcare, Croatia has hospitals that meet European standards, with many doctors trained abroad who speak English. Both public and private hospitals are modern, and the costs are far lower than in the US. A private consultation is only $40–60, enough to give you peace of mind in your retirement years. Safety is another plus. In 2024, Croatia ranked 15th out of 160 safest countries in the world, on par with Switzerland and Finland. You can stroll through old alleys at night without much worry, only keeping light caution in crowded tourist areas. Croatia offers the advantages any retiree dreams of: majestic nature, reasonable costs, mild climate, good healthcare, high safety, and a growing expat community. Of course, there are hurdles too. Croatian is not easy to learn. Summer tourism can be overcrowded and drive up prices. The Bora wind can strike suddenly, and bureaucracy is sometimes as slow as a turtle. Yet, when you stand on the Makarska cliffs watching the sun sink into the Adriatic, you realize those drawbacks are just grains of salt dissolving in the briny waves. Croatia doesn't promise a perfect life, but it does promise a life that is enough. Enough to make you smile every morning. Enough to let you stroll leisurely to the market. Enough to make you feel worthy at this age. And isn't that perhaps the truest luxury? Do you see yourself fitting better with the sparkling Adriatic Sea or the ancient limestone towns? Leave a comment. I choose Croatia if your heart just skipped a beat. Or comment on all the places you'd like to go. Share what you're thinking and tell me where I might be wrong. I'll be grateful and happy for it. 4. Italy, the sweet symphony of Europe. If Croatia is like a green balcony opening to the Adriatic Sea, then Italy is the endless symphony where every city is an instrument. The snow-covered Alps in the north play like clear violins. Lakes Como and Garda sparkle like silver piano keys. The south, with the Amalfi Coast, Sicily, and Sardinia, strums the Mediterranean guitar under golden sunlight. Few places in Europe weave nature and history together like Italy. Rome whispers stories 2,000 years old. Florence lets art flow across every wall. Venice drifts gently along its canals. And Tuscany opens purple vineyards where wine and the afternoon sun blend into poetry. Italians call this life la dolce vita, the sweet life. And indeed, the slow pace, family warmth, and joy found in every meal have made Italy the dream of millions of retirees. But is that dream expensive? In reality, Italy costs more than many Eastern European countries, yet it is still about 20% cheaper than the US if housing is excluded. With about $2,300 per month, you can live comfortably with a touch of elegance if you choose the right place. In Rome, Milan, or Florence, a central apartment can swallow $1,500, quickly pushing you over budget. But moving to the suburbs lowers prices to $600, $1,000. In the south, Sicily or Calabria, rent for a 1 to 2 bedroom apartment is only $400, $700, sometimes even less. With that, you get a cozy home and still keep a budget for life's pleasures. Italian cuisine, already world famous, is even kinder to the wallet. A morning cappuccino is only $1 to $2. Brick oven pizza, fragrant with char, costs 7-8 tone. Pasta al dente at a casual trattoria is $7. And a three-course meal with wine at a mid-range restaurant is just $20-35 per person. Shopping at markets is even more tempting. Vegetables, seafood, cheese, and wine. All abundant, high quality, and far cheaper than in the US. On top of that, utilities for an 85 coating apartment are only about $120 per month. With a $2,000 budget, you can enjoy a good home, dine out often, travel within Italy, and even buy basic private health insurance, about $200 per year. Many couples in rural Umbria have shared that they live fully on less than $2,000 a month. Proof that if you choose wisely, Italy is not just a dream, but truly within reach. To stay long-term, Italy offers the elective residency visa, designed specifically for those with passive income, typically retirees. The requirements are not light. You must prove a minimum annual income of about $31,000 for an individual and nearly $40,000 for a couple. Applicants need a rental contract or proof of home ownership, health insurance, and proof of sufficient means to live without working. This visa does not allow employment in Italy, but it opens the door to enjoy retirement in the land of pasta. In addition, anyone with Italian ancestry may apply for citizenship by descent, while EU citizens are, of course, free to live and work in Italy. Italy's healthcare system is one of its strongest points. The World Health Organization has ranked Italy among the best in the world. The public hospital network is extensive, with highly skilled doctors, and costs for those with public insurance are far lower than in the US. Even so, many expats choose private hospitals for faster service, better amenities, and English-speaking doctors. In terms of safety, Italy is generally secure, with violent crime rarely occurring. The main concern is petty theft in crowded tourist areas. Italy's greatest advantage is its balance. Nature and culture stretching from snowy mountains, lakes, and vineyards to blue seas. Cuisine that is not only delicious but a way of life. A reliable healthcare system. And a standard of living that, if you avoid the most expensive cities, can be well within reach. Still, Italy has its challenges. High costs in Rome, Milan, and Florence. Retirement visas with significant financial requirements. Hot summers in the south and cold. Damp winters in the north. Rural infrastructure that can be uneven, and bureaucracy that, as many say, moves as slowly as Italian life itself. Yet, when you sit at a small cafe in Siena with a plate of freshly made pasta in front of you, a square full of children playing behind you, and the sound of church bells ringing in your ears, you will understand why the whole world calls Italy sweet. You might find yourself like Susan from New Jersey, whom I met in Calabria. She said that in the US, every trip to the supermarket for just a few items cost her over $100. But in Italy, with €100, she filled her bags. Wine, olives, cheese, and ripe red tomatoes. She laughed. Here, I no longer have to choose between buying supplements or buying cheese. I buy both, then sit on the balcony looking at the sea and think. So happiness really is this simple. If you could live la dolce vita, the sweet Italian life, would you choose historic Rome, romantic Tuscany, or sunny Sicily? Share your thoughts so I know, and who knows, you might find a companion to share that dream. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss the next journey of discovery. 3. Greece, the homeland of myth and golden sun. If Italy is the symphony of art, then Greece is like an epic of mythology, where you can step out your front door and see stories of Zeus, Athena, or Poseidon written again in blue seas and white stone. With over 6,000 islands scattered across the Aegean and Ionian, only about 227 inhabited, Greece offers retirees a vast natural stage. Santorini white with blue domes, Crete majestic with mountains and olive groves, Rhodes glowing with sunlight, and the Peloponnese gentle like an ancient ballad. It's no surprise people say Greece has more than 250 days of sunshine each year. A priceless gift for retirees who want to live slower, healthier lives. What makes Greece endearing to American or European retirees is not only the scenery, but also the cost of living. Compared to the US, the cost of living in Greece is only about 75%. With around $700 to $2,000 per month, you can rent a nice two-bedroom apartment in Crete or the Peloponnese for $860 to $900. Enjoy a Mediterranean diet rich in olive oil, fresh fish, vegetables, and wine without worrying about breaking the bank. A dinner for two at a mid-range restaurant is only about $40. At the market, fresh fish costs just $5 to $10 per kilo, local pasta $1 to $2. Thanks to this, a $2,000 budget is not only enough to eat well and live comfortably, but also to hire part-time help, travel within the country, and buy private health insurance, which costs only about $200 to $300 per year. Greece is also unique in its friendly residency policies. Retirees can apply for the FIP visa, financially independent person, if they can prove passive income of $2,000 per month. This visa is almost tailor-made for people who do not need to work, but want to live long-term in the land of mythology. If you have stronger financial capacity, the Golden Visa requires only a $250,000 investment in real estate to open the way to a 5-year residence permit and the opportunity for citizenship after 7 years. In general, Greece says very clearly to foreigners, if you can afford to live comfortably, we are ready to welcome you. As for healthcare, Greece was once affected by the economic crisis, which sometimes makes the public system overloaded, especially in Athens or Thessaloniki. But in major cities, hospitals still meet European standards, with many well-trained doctors who speak English. With private insurance, you can shorten waiting times and receive care in more comfortable conditions. In particular, Greece is also famous for medical tourism, attracting international patients thanks to quality services at reasonable costs. In terms of safety, the country is considered medium-high. Violent crime is very rare, with the main risk being petty theft in tourist areas, while the islands and retirement towns are almost absolutely peaceful. What makes Greece appealing is its slow pace of life and rich culture. On afternoons in a seaside cafe in Crete, you can sip a cold frappe coffee for just €3. Watch the sunset painting the blue-domed houses of Santorini in red. You'll hear the sound of the bouzouki during village festivals, see people dancing the sirtaki hand in hand with smiles, and realize, here, old age is not about closing down, but about blending into an endless epic. Of course, Greece is not perfect. Bureaucracy can be slow. The Greek language is difficult to learn. Many small islands still have limited infrastructure, and the public system can sometimes leave you waiting as if Zeus were on vacation. But in return, you get a life full of sunshine, sea, smiles, and a large expat community always ready to share experiences. So where would you choose to live? The bustling Athens, the warm Crete, or the romantic Santorini? Leave a comment to share which island is calling your name. And don't forget to hit like so we can continue this journey together, discovering where $2,000 can turn life into a mythological story. 2. Mexico. The Latin paradise where $2,000 turns into a royal lifestyle. Mexico is a country where nature changes like a movie. The north is arid with the Baja Desert, The central plateau, like Mexico City, is chilly in winter, while the south is lush with the tropical forests of Chiapas. Surrounding the country are two oceans, the Pacific and the Caribbean, opening up hundreds of stunning beaches. Puerto Vallarta, Los Cabos, Cancun, or the Riviera Maya. But the most precious gem for American and Canadian retirees is Lake Chapala, where the climate stays at 68-77 degrees year-round, with mild sunny days and cool nights, often compared to a tropical Southern California. What makes Mexico special is not only its landscapes, but also its cost of living so low, you feel like you're living lavishly on pocket change. According to data, an individual spends about $880 a month, excluding rent. With around $1,500, $2,000 a month, you can easily rent a spacious two-bedroom apartment in Ajijic, San Miguel de Allende, or Playa del Carmen, eat out frequently, buy private health insurance, and still have enough left for trips. In central Mexico City, a one-bedroom apartment costs about $500–700, while in small towns, a two-bedroom is only $800–1,000. Mexican cuisine is heaven for those who love to eat well at low cost. Tacos or corn tortillas cost only $1–3. A hearty comida corrida lunch is $4 to $8, and a fancy dinner for two rarely exceeds $40. At the markets, fresh produce is surprisingly cheap. Tomatoes only 1 kilograms, Mexican avocados 3 kilograms. Many American expats joke, "Back home I had to choose between buying cheese or paying the electric bill. In Mexico, I buy both, and then order a margarita on top of it." In terms of residency, Mexico is very open. U.S. citizens can stay for 180 days without a visa. For long-term plans, you can apply for residente temporal, temporary residence for up to 4 years, or residente permanente, permanent residence. The conditions usually require proof of income of around $4,000 a month or a large savings account. After a few years, you can apply for citizenship. Thanks to this policy, nearly 1 million Americans have chosen Mexico as their second home. Healthcare is a major advantage. In Guadalajara, Monterrey, or Cancun, hospitals meet international standards, with many doctors trained in the U.S. and fluent in English. Medical costs are 30–50% cheaper than in the U.S., from surgery to dentistry. That's why Mexico is also a regional hub for medical tourism. However, in remote areas, public services remain limited, so private insurance, $100–200 a month, is still the safer choice. The downside of Mexico lies in security. Some remote states have crime issues, but large expat communities like Chapala, Mérida, or Puerto Vallarta are very safe, friendly, and full of cultural color. As long as you avoid dangerous areas, you'll find Mexico to be as safe as Europe. If just $2,000 lets you live like a king, would you choose the blue seas of Cancun, the Lake Chapala of Ajijic, or the historic San Miguel? Comment to see if your choice matches many Americans already retiring in Mexico. Hit like and subscribe to join me in discovering even more affordable paradises to live. 1. Portugal. The Song by the Atlantic. Portugal is like a bridge between modern Europe and the slow Mediterranean lifestyle. Located on the western edge of the continent, the country is surrounded by the sea and its climate is tempered by ocean winds. The north is green and humid. The central region stretches across the Douro Valley with vineyards, while the south, Algarve, is a sunny paradise with more than 300 days of sunshine each year. Winters rarely fall below 50 degrees Celsius. Summers are not as scorching as in Spain, making it one of the most ideal retirement destinations in Europe. What's surprising is that the cost of living in Portugal is much lower than in Western Europe. In Lisbon or Porto, renting a one-bedroom apartment in the city center costs about $801,000. In Coimbra or Alentejo, a two-bedroom apartment is only $450–600. With $2,500 month, you can rent a two-bedroom apartment by the Algarve coast, dine comfortably at restaurants, a dinner for two costs around $40, grilled sardines only $8.10, and still have enough left for domestic travel or private health insurance. North Americans living here often save 30–50% compared to their expenses back home. In terms of residency, the D7 visa is the golden key for retirees. It requires only about $8,460 a year in passive income, equivalent to $705 a month, along with a rental or property ownership contract and health insurance. After 5 years, you can apply for permanent residency or citizenship. The government once had an investment golden visa, but the program has been restricted to avoid real estate speculation. With the D7, retirees or those with stable savings can easily settle long-term. Portugal also stands out for its high-quality healthcare. The public system ranks in the top 15 worldwide, with low costs, convenient private services, many English-speaking doctors, and private insurance costing only about $50 a month. In terms of safety, the country is among the top 10 safest in the world. Violent crime is rare, and the people are hospitable and friendly. Of course, Lisbon is becoming more crowded. Housing prices in the city center are rising, and Portuguese is a difficult language to learn. But as soon as you step outside the capital, you'll find peaceful coastal towns where life is simple yet complete. Would you choose to sip a glass of Porto wine by the Douro River, stroll through the hills of Lisbon, or watch the sunset in the Algarve? Share which corner of Portugal is calling your name. Retirement doesn't have to mean quiet days on the porch of an expensive homeland. It can be the sunrise on Croatia's Adriatic coast, a hot cappuccino in a small cafe in Florence, the purple-red sunset on Crete, mariachi music by Lake Chapala in Mexico, or the gentle fado rhythm on Lisbon's hills. With just $2,000 a month, you can turn your golden years into a radiant chapter, where luxury lies not in extravagance but in freedom, health, and the joy of living each day. So if you had the choice, where would your heart anchor? Leave a comment, hit like if you believe you also deserve a sweet retirement, and subscribe to explore with me more destinations that could become your second home. Because who knows, the journey that changes your life might begin with this very video.